Yo, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Jingle. And today we are going to be looking at the Ignite Films 4K release of Re-Animator. This is one of my favorite horror movies of all time. I wasn't going to do one of these since there's so many of these coming out right now, but I just had to do the justice to one of my favorite horror films ever. This is a top 3 horror of all time for me. Someday later down the line, I'll make a video going into detail. I'll do like a top 10 or top 20. I have my top 3, I think, set in stone for sure, but we'll do that at a later time. And before we get into this, please remember to like and share this video and subscribe to my channel if you haven't. If you're interested in more horror content or reviews like this, stay tuned because I have a lot more on the way, but let's get into it. So I'm not going to go into like crazy detail on like the production and all this. We all know that it was directed by Stuart Gordon, produced by Brian Usna, starring Jeffrey Combs, Barbara Crampton, Bruce Abbott. But I just have to say that like this is probably the best 4K release of the year so far, in my opinion. Just horror movie or not, it is amazing. The first shot of Miskatonic University is insane. Like the first shot, it just made my jaw hit the floor pretty much. And then like I just had so much fun with this the rest of it. And I've seen this movie several times. I love this movie. Really focusing on the background too in this. It's just insane how much detail you can make out. And like I have just never really paid much attention to it, but like it just looks insane. In this release, you can really see every little detail. They absolutely killed it. The bladder effects on Dr. Gruber's eyes in the beginning scene with Herbert West is unreal. Like the detail in the veins and the blood are seen as they never have been before, and it looked amazing. I am upgrading this from my Arrow Video Blu-ray. This is the Steelbook edition. I never got the chunky box set. If I did, I probably would have debated a lot harder on getting this release, but I've kind of fallen out of the Steelbook thing a little bit, but I really like this Steelbook. I'm not sure I'll get rid of it because I love Re-Animator. That back of it's a lot of fun too, but this transfer is amazing too. Like I got a lot of mileage out of that, and I'm really happy with that. But let's get back into this. So the blood that Dr. Hill swabs out of the head in the scene we're in the classroom, and he takes like a swab and sticks it in the guy's brain, it is so vibrantly red and it looks so amazing in 4K. And that scene where Bruce Abbott and Barbara Crampton are hugging, and she's like, no, no. And then it transfers to them doing it, and she's like, yes, yes. It gets me every time. I love that scene. I just had to bring that up. That scene is just so funny. This is an all-time, like, just classic horror comedy. And the comedy is so subtle, but it's so present, and they don't try so hard. And it's really genuinely funny. Also, I want to mention that Barbara Crampton has also never looked better than in this transfer. Big fan of her. I have never seen so much detail in the practical effects on the dead bodies in the background and stuff. It is just absolutely insane. The one of my favorite scenes of this entire movie is when they find the dead cat in the fridge, and he's like, what was I supposed to do? Leave you a note? Put cat dead, details later? That just makes me die laughing every time I see that. Also, the basement scene with the cat is notoriously like super dark, and it's really hard to make stuff out, but you can see every little detail on this transfer. It is so amazing. I'm actually on a custom figure run of Re-Animator, and they were asking for like some reference pictures and stuff, and the run organizer definitely needs to get this 4K because they can just see so much detail in it. Like even all the items on the shelves and stuff in the back in the dark basement, you can just make out so crystal clear. There's also like so much detail in the morgue with like the corpses between the veins and the blood on the face. It's just so amazing. And then going back to that basement, that same location, the scene with Dr. Hill, you can see so much more than you've ever been able to, because that's another dark scene. Like there's a lot of dark parts in this movie, and it just looks so amazing. It is truly a spectacle. It's one of the greatest horror scores of all time. Like, I just love it. You could almost dance to it. It's so good. And another thing that I just want to point out is like the blood pooling in the tray with Dr. Hill's head. It is just so well done and it looks so amazing. It's never looked better, guys. Like, I've never got anything from Ignite Films, and like this is a first release. Like, anything horror they release from now on, I'm gonna have to grab because they absolutely killed it. They also added some brand new special features. So there is a Re-Animator at 40 special features. For those of you that don't know, May is actually the 40th anniversary of Re-Animator, and we get Brian, Jeffrey, and Barbara all talking about memories and stories about being on set and being with each other, and they go into detail and like dissecting the main characters and stuff, which is really cool. And I love that like Barbara and Jeffrey like remember all their lines. Like, it's so awesome to just know how much they love this movie and like how big of an impact it had on their careers. And Jeffrey Combs in the interview says that he is completely fine with being typecast because he's such a big horror fan, and I just think that is so badass. And that's like a 45-minute interview. There's a ton of special features in this release. It's the definitive release in my opinion. We also get Lee Percy, who is actually the guy who cut the film together, and he talks about cutting the film. And what's really interesting is he talks about how he went to Juilliard for acting, and then he decided that he didn't want to do that. So then he met Stuart Gordon at the musical theater that he ran, and he just goes into detail about like what led him into Re-Animator. And there's just some really heartwarming stuff in that he talks about, like about when Dean Halsey gets his fingers bitten off. He was just hanging out on set eating a bowl of chili, and it's so funny. There's also a part where he says that he talked to Stuart Gordon's mom at the screening, and she like leans over and says like, "I did not raise my son to make a movie like this," which I just thought was really funny. We also have the horror of it all. It is the legacy and impact of Re-Animator. We get interviews with Joe Lynch, Mick Garris, etc. More like producers and directors talking about when they first saw the movie and the impact it had on them and their creative abilities in the horror genre. They also talk about how Fangoria magazine really helped promote this movie because this movie was given an X rating. Like, Brian Usla, that's another thing that I just love about him, is like he says that he did not want to pass this on to the MPAA because he knew that they would cut so much stuff out of it. So he was fine with just giving it an unrated rating and letting Fangoria promote that, which is really, really cool. You had to read the magazine back then too, or go to conventions. Like, there was no internet, so that was the only way that you knew about this stuff. And they also go into an analyzation of Stuart Gordon, which I really liked. We also get an interview with Carolyn Purdy Gordon, his wife. She talks about meeting Stuart, and there's a really heartwarming story. She talks about how, like, when he called her up, she for like a role at the theater or something, and she said that he had to have been drunk, and he was just really polite, and he called and apologized the next day and stuff. And she said that he was really a diamond in the rough, and he was just like such a cool guy. There's also a look back at Re-Animator the musical, which looks so amazing. Like, there's so many fun practical effects, and they show off a lot of that in this section. I would have loved to see that musical. It looks so awesome. All of these special features really make me appreciate Stuart Gordon even more. Like, he was an icon in the horror genre. He's done several of my favorite horror movies, but he wanted to do a musical version of Re-Animator for years, I guess, and he finally did it, which is really cool. We also get a little like 2-minute feature called Reanimating a Horror Classic. It is the 4K restoration of Re-Animator, and it shows them working on the restoration, and it's pretty interesting. It shows the original negative and mono track, which is really cool to see. It looks really old and vintage. And what's really interesting is they used DaVinci Resolve for the original scan of the negative, and I just love how much Jeffrey, Barbara, and Brian were involved in this. It's really awesome. There's also another feature. It's a 1977 organic theater documentary featuring Stuart Gordon. Now, this has nothing to do with Re-Animator whatsoever, but it's really cool seeing this rare footage of Stuart Gordon at such a young age. And like, the thing that's crazy about this, guys, is all that stuff I just talked about is just on the 4K disc. It's just crazy to me that the 4K could look that good and still have all this content on it. Like, there's probably 5+ hours of content on this, maybe even 6 or 7+ hours of content just on this 4K disc. We also have legacy bonus features. It has everything that they've ever included, like ever before, like on the Arrow release and everything. So that's really awesome. It also came with a book, which is, I just love these books. They're so much fun to go through. It's so interesting reading about, like I said earlier, about how Brian wouldn't take the movie to the MPAA, and he talks about like his family and what they were going through. Roger Ebert actually had complimented this movie when he saw it at the film festival it debuted at, the Cannes Film Festival, which was really cool. It also talks about how like there's some really famous people who are really big fans of this movie, like Arnold Schwarzenegger, Junji Ito, a really famous manga artist. That didn't really surprise me at all. There's just tons of essays dissecting the film and the influences and impact it had on horror today. So that was really cool. Let me show you this release. So this is the Ignite Films Re-Animator 4K edition. It has this J card. I'm going to try to keep this. Nothing really too exciting on the back. I'm not the biggest fan of this artwork. Like CHH said in his review video, it looks like a t-shirt, and they actually are making a t-shirt out of it on Fright Rags right now. You can get like a Re-Animator bundle, but the artwork's sweet. I just would have done something else for the boutique label release of this, but this is what it looks like. We've got on the inside, we've got the book, which is really nice. Feels very nice. There's the book, 40 Years of Re-Animator. Just flipping through it. Oh, that's like a little protector thing in it. But just flipping through it, like, there's just really cool pictures of the cast and crew, and the words are bigger, which I like. Sometimes the words are really small in these things, but I really like that a lot. There's these art cards that are cool. You just get a couple different shots of the film. I won't go through all those. And then you get like this media book type thing of this, which I'm not the biggest fan of. But there is the discs, this 4K disc. You've got the 2 Blu-rays there. But yeah, guys, I just had to get on here and talk to you about Re-Animator quick. Like I said, this is a top 3 horror movie of all time for me. And when they announced this release, I just knew that I had to have it. Like, I've had that Steelbook Arrow release for years, and I've just gotten my mileage out of it, so I was ready for something else. But yeah, guys, I'd say it's safe to say to grab this if you haven't yet. It's pretty pricey. I think it was like $80, but it was worth it in my opinion. I'm going to get my mileage out of it, and it's packed with features. So yeah, guys, if you could please like this video and subscribe to my channel, that would be so amazing, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace.